Okay, 27 through 30. It says, whatever happens, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Then whether I come and see you or only hear about you in my absence, I will know that you stand firm in the one Spirit, striving together as one for the faith of the gospel, without being frightened in any way by those who oppose you. This is a sign to them that they will be destroyed, but that you will be saved, and that by God. For it has been granted to you on behalf of Christ not only to believe in him, but also to suffer for him, since you are going through the same struggle you saw I had and now hear that I still have. So now Paul seems to turn from biographical information, which is what it's been up to this point, his love and prayers for the church, he's in prison, how that's advanced the gospel, his confidence that whatever happens, he'll stay true to Christ. He moves from that to apply what he's experiencing now to the Philippians. Okay? And so Paul tells them, whatever happens to me, you live out your faith the way you're supposed to live out your faith. Whatever happens to me. If I get released from prison and I say I'm going to see you in 40 days, which was about the travel from Rome to Philippi, he says, you live for Jesus. If you get word that I was beheaded, doesn't change a thing. You still live for Jesus. And now he's going to talk about what that means to live out the faith. He says, I want to find you living for Christ. Paul breaks it down to some specific things. First of all, he calls for the church to be united. How many times in our studies through these letters have we talked about the unity of the church? Okay? A lot, right? I mean, even in our preaching through the Corinthians and so on and so forth. Unity, 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 unity. This is, it is such a monumental New Testament teaching. And yet, how often do churches struggle with unity? Right? So he calls for the church to be united. And he talks there about striving together as one for the faith of the gospel. And the idea there is that the church is to be united, linked arm in arm. Linked arm in arm, which could be a military term. We talked about that last week. This is a military town. In fighting or wrestling together for the gospel. How many of you remember when you were kids playing the game Red Rover, Red Rover? Okay? You remember how you had to link arms and then somebody had to try to break through? Right? Okay? Well, when your arms are linked, you're a lot stronger. Okay? If your arms were just like this, it'd be easy to push an arm. But if your arms are linked together, it's tough to break through. And that's the idea here. The church is to be united, working together for the advancement of the gospel. And he says, do not shrink back. Do not compromise. Do not allow yourself to be knocked off course by opposition. And the fact that they can't cause you to pull back, Paul says, it's a clear indication that in the end, Jesus and his people win. Jesus and his people win. So he says here that they are to live a life worthy of the gospel. What do you find to be some of the most difficult challenges of living a life worthy of the gospel in our culture today? How would you define fearless Christianity? And why do you think it's so hard to practice?